Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana la tu'akhidhna in nasina aw akhtana. Rabbana wa la tahmil alayna isran kama hamaltahu ala allazina min qablina. Rabbana wa la tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bih. Wa'fu anna waghfir lana warhamna. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. Sorry for the little delay we had just to decide what to speak on, what to discuss on. So we'll start with the 15th ray. Since we discussed last time about the fruits of belief in the angels, so we'll see how the 15th ray, the shining proof, it says consists of two stations. So I'll jump right in. This lesson is a treatise which is apparently unimportant, but in reality is of the greatest importance and is extremely powerful and comprehensive. It is a Quranic fruit of paradise and of belief, which was produced from the uniting at the degrees of knowledge of certainty and absolute certainty of my life of reflective thought and the spiritual life of the risale-i Nur, which is based on ascertaining reality through its evidences, tahqiqi, evidence. So let's see what the footnote is saying. According to Bediüz Zaman, the aim of the risale-i Nur is to gain for its readers or students true, verified, confirmed belief. Imam Tahqiqi. This has been defined as to acquire certain knowledge of all the questions related to belief through close investigation and to live that belief. Firm, unshakable belief. So my life of reflective thought and the spiritual life of the Risale, which is based on ascertaining reality through its evidences. Signed, Said Nursi. So we'll start the first station, a concise summary of the 20th letter and part 1 of the instruction given in the third school of Joseph. And he has a footnote in another page. So we will see that as well. It consists of 3 parts. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. And from him do we seek help. Now he says, I am someone who has spent 35 years in seclusion and particularly at night forgets the world. At night forgets the world. And having for 23 years suffered the annoyance of being under hostile surveillance, has been unsociable. Being all alone, I become fed up if I am for even an hour with anyone. Other than those who assist me or are desirous of the lessons of the risale-i Nur. But then, on the pretext of the petition, I wrote to the Court of Appeal about being held for 11 months in total solitary confinement in Afyon prison. They forcibly transferred me to Ward 5 and forbade my brothers to come to me. I was feeling truly alarmed that I would be unable to endure the crowded conditions when suddenly, as a sign of wrath and anger, the cold became so severe I would not have survived had I remained in my former place. The hardship turned into mercy for me. So the hardship turned into mercy for me. It occurred to me as I was reciting the tasbihat following the prayers. In all the wards, the Risale-i Nur students are working as hard as they can at the Risale-i Nur and its lessons both on their own account and in your place. But because this fifth ward is somewhat isolated and is constantly being filled and emptied, the need here is greater for the Risale-i Nur's instruction. The youths and elderly people read the newspapers, which write about the assaults of Russia with its awesome denial of God, and are therefore in far greater need of its definitive, powerful instruction about belief in God's existence and unity. I was thinking of writing a brief summary of the 20th letter and the sacred sentence. There is no God but God. He is one, he has no partner. His is the sovereignty and his is the praise. He gives life and deals death, and he is living and dies not. In his hand is all good. He is powerful over all things, and to him shall be your return. Which is some references from where this has been obtained. There is no God but God. He is one. He has no partner. He is the sovereignty, and his is the praise. He gives life and deals death, and he is living and dies not. In his hand is all good. He is powerful over all things, and to him shall be your return. So some phrases from the Quran as well, which for years I have recited 10 times after the morning prayer. For it points out the affirmation of divine unity on a vast scale, and with its 11 phrases demonstrates in detail as clearly as the sun both 11 proofs of the divine necessary existence and dominical unity, and 11 good tidings. According to one narration, it bears the greatest name. But then it was suddenly imparted to me that I should teach this concise summary to Nadir Hoja and the youths here. So saying, in the name of God, I began. This sentence demonstrating divine unity contains 11 good tidings and 11 proofs of the truths of belief. For now, I shall point out briefly the proofs only and refer their further explanation and the good tidings to the 20th letter and other parts of the Risale-i Nur. However, I consider it appropriate to write here a few points. I did not tell them when I was writing the lesson of the 11 phrases of the above sentence affirming divine unity. So let's start the first phrase. There is no God but God. The proof here is the treatise called the Supreme Sign, which has been printed. Ayatul Kubra. It was because it is a matchless wonder that in giving news of various parts of the Risale-i Nur, Imam Ali, may God be pleased with him, said, and by the supreme sign, preserve me from sudden death. And by the supreme sign, preserve me from sudden death. And I think we read the supreme sign section in this verse. Yes, Brother Ali, go ahead.
Before really we go into this discussion now, inshallah, but I don't know how much he is going to explain it. 2 points attracted my attention in the previous sections that we read. One of them is the phrase School of Joseph, calling Nursi calls even before this page. Oh, yeah, in the beginning, here it is. Here it is, School of Joseph, the first station. Where is the School of Person? A concise, no, up, let's say, no, up. I mean, to the beginning. Now, come a little bit up. Now, wait. In the name of, no, in a concise summary and instruction given in the School of Joseph. Yeah, good, you got it now. It is interesting. They were in prison, and this book also, this section of the book, also written while Nursi himself and some of his people together with him, working together, were imprisoned there. They are in prison. Of course, taking the Quranic examples of the prophets was very interesting, the way Nursi takes it, which is amazing and very useful, very practical. Now, Joseph was accused of doing something bad, but he was innocent. They put him in prison. But Nursi likens this people and himself to those people who were imprisoned in an innocent way. But we have to understand from the language of the Quran, prison, but no one wants to be in prison. But Joseph's example demonstrates that at one point it may be needed. That is, of course, God's decree. I don't put myself in prison on my own will and choice, but I feel that if I am put in prison in an innocent way, I should take this prison as not as a prison, but as a school of Joseph, where Joseph really got education, learned by being in contact with the people directly in prison conditions. So he was educated there. So the Nursi took said, look, we shouldn't say that we are in a prison, deprived of many of our rights of freedom, and it is in a unjust ways. So let's take it as a school, benefit from it. So whatever the condition we are given, we have to look at that position from what God's order, what God's plan is prepared for me in order to educate me. I found it in my life very difficult. I'm not saying you should. No, I don't know whether you do or not, but it is very difficult. When I am in any position that I'm created in any position that I don't like it, I don't take it as a school, education, means of education. I don't take it. I just lose my temper because I fail in seeing that whatever happens to me, justly, unjustly, I like, I dislike, regardless of my position, whatever is created is good for me because it is created by the most wise one and planned accordingly. Of course, I have to take the responsibility of my free will to choice, but the result is created by the wise creator. For example, if someone is imprisoned on a right way, not unjustly, but on a just way, still he has to see this conclusion as created by a wise creator. And this person, it may be you and me, but let's say me, I have to take it as an opportunity to learn. Of course, to learn what? To learn the purpose of how to fulfill the purpose of my existence. Take it as a school. So Nursi never complains about this situation, but he presented his complaint to the authorities, not to God, not within himself. He took it as a school from the creator, means of education, but at the same time we skipped many defenses and encouragement of his students that we should not get disappointed, we should not get excited and take a negative attitude to the result, but we should complain the authorities that we are treated in an unjust way. So that is our complaint to people. It should not be directed to God, the creator, because God never aims at harming his creatures. By definition, whole universe is created for me by the same God who put me in this position. Look at the universe. Do you see anything which is aimed at harm me? It is crazy to create somebody and feel that you want to harm him. Can you imagine that the creator of the universe is a sadist creator? Is it possible to interpret it in this way? Definitely unacceptable. Anyways, now this is my point, first point. The second point is on the following page. Now let's see, in almost the middle, just on the come down to the that paragraph, Russia, where Russia is. Yeah, assaults of Russia. Maybe 2, 4, 6 line of this paragraph, which starts with it occurred. Yep, you got it. So go further from the assaults of Russia until the unity. Yeah, can you please read it and again so that we will all follow from your beautiful reading? My reading is horrible. So
Bismillah. The people, whoever, the youth and elderly people, read the newspapers which write about the assaults of Russia with its awesome denial of God, and are therefore in far greater need of its definitive, powerful instruction about belief in God's existence and unity.
Actually, this sentence reveals why the risale is written, or the author has written his work in the way that he has written. Why? That is real life, based on real life experiences and understanding that what the reality of the life we are experiencing now needed. Now, in the newspaper, the youth and elderly in prison, as far as his observation and experience are concerned, read the newspaper, and it was written, the news of the assaults of Russia with its awesome denial of God. insulting religion and declaring that they are going to dysfunction all religious institutions and keep under state control. There should be no religious ideas, understandings spread among the people, oppress the religious people and institutions under state control, so that they shouldn't really spread it. Even, those people who know something of the history, all elderly people were allowed to go to the churches, and youth, if they bring their children, they were prevented and treated very badly. I don't know in which ways. So he felt this real life experience. What are they doing? For example, who does not experience among the people, his colleagues, his students, if it's teacher or his friends, who are not afflicted by the denial of religion in general? Who doesn't? Why don't we think that, look, the greatest need concerning our eternal life is, as the text says, the definitive, powerful instruction about belief in God's existence and unity must be in the subject of our concern. We have to be realistic. Those people who don't believe, leave them alone. The Russians are bad. But people are hearing them. They need instructions. We have to try any possible means to approach the people and talk about this belief in God's existence and unity. That is the foundation of everything. And if there is a need, go further. So this is, all the risale-i is written in the way that it is written because he understood in his part of life in Istanbul. That time Istanbul was a small Paris. In Vienna, at that time Vienna was very, very active in materialist, naturalist ideologies. And the German-speaking people were there. So they were writing a lot of materialist ideologies, naturalist philosophers, and spreading in Istanbul, and the youth were greatly affected by it. And he realized that not only in Istanbul, not only in that time, the future of the new generation will be exposed to this idea, even very true now. Even the 2 years of babies are introduced to secularist approach of life. Even good and bad is described in the video, children videos on a secular base. Unfortunately, even the Muslims are not aware that good and bad is presented to our 2-3 years of children about age as well, but starting from at least 3 years of age, but nowadays even really goes back to 2 years. They are educating, unfortunately, I saw them, they are educating their children. I'm not saying I didn't do that. No personal defense. In general, the people, even the Muslims, are educating in their children. You know, a player, how do you say, the one who plays the first role in the video, The name is something, I don't know, I haven't watched them. But partially I saw them and realized, they are describing good and evil on a secular base, humanistic, secular humanistic base. And saying that, look, in the video, let's say, for example, Simon did this. It is good, isn't it? Why don't you do it again? But Simon did it on a secular base. It is missing. Because the sympathy, atmosphere of sympathy, if you like, prevalent in the house, the child gets familiar with the secularist approach to the life of this world. Because the parents are approving it. Even the religious parents are approving it. We have to realize how dreadful, how really a serious matter it is. We have to take some sort of initiations as much as we can. That's what we are doing here in this room, I believe. That is a very good example for me that the author of this book is not imagining a society where the foundations of religion is completely, if not destroyed, but shaken. He is aware of it. He wrote accordingly, very realistic. That is why we found it so related to our life, and that's why we keep reading, benefiting from him, because we found the medicine for our diseases. Inshallah, we have to pray to Allah that we will be able to implement it in our life. Not only stay at the state of, at the level of knowledge, practice. Whatever happens to me, I don't like it. It is a school. And get the education. Practical. MashaAllah, I really like these 2 points. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Yes, it's kind of related to how the youth and elderly, everyone actually is involved with the civilization more than looking into the meaning of this life. Why are we here? Nobody wonders about that anymore. Even if they do this, doesn't really click to many based on how the culture and civilizations are now propagating. So there is no God but God, the first phrase. The proof here is the treatise called the Supreme Sign, Ayatul Kubra, which has been printed. It was because it is a miraculous wonder. It is a matchless wonder that in giving news of various parts of the risale-i Nur, Imam Ali, may God be pleased with him, said, "And by the supreme sign, preserve me from sudden death. And by the supreme sign, preserve me from sudden death." It's an interesting phrase. And making that supreme sign an intercessor. So making the universe an intercessor. So I would not go into meaninglessness because I will look for the meaning through the universe. Through the treatise's victories in the courts of both Ankara and Denizli, and its spreading effectively and secretly. It was both the reason for the risale-i Nur students being acquitted, and since its secret printing had led to the students' imprisonment for 9 months, it both clearly affirmed Imam Ali's, may God be pleased with him, wondrous prediction, and his prayer for the risale-i Nur students. Yes, the seventh ray, the supreme sign, points out 33 vast, universal, unanimous proofs in all beings, alluding to innumerable evidences in each universal proof. It proves firstly that heavens indicate the necessarily existent one's existence and unity with the words of the stars, the earth with the phrases and sentences of the animals and plants, and so on, until the universe as a whole, with the words of all its contents and beings, and the truths of contingency and createdness and change. The universe proves them as clearly as sunlight and as certainly as the day. Those who want unshakable belief and seek an unbreakable sword to combat irreligion and anarchy should refer to the supreme sign. Unshakable belief and seek an unbreakable sword to combat irreligion and anarchy should refer to the supreme sign. Any comments by anyone on?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Brother Ali.
Now, this, of course, it looks like risale-i Nur is the text that we studied under the name of the supreme sign. So Imam Ali is seeking refuge with the supreme sign. The text. No. We should not do that. The text, the section we read in this book, which is called the supreme sign, Ayatul Kubra, the supreme sign. In fact, Imam Ali referred with his saying, I don't know, I haven't read it because I don't know his language, Syriac, because Imam Ali was a great scholar. So he knew Syriac language and he wrote some books in Syriac language that time. So we know that in section Nazi'at, section of the Quran 79, verse 20, so when God asked, the story is narrated that God asked Musa when he came to take the covenant, said, go to Pharaoh. God said to him, to Musa, go to Pharaoh and said, فَأَرَاهُمْ آيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. The same word. Show him the supreme sign. Oh, what does it mean? So Nursi is very clever, very smart man, so, and also wise man. He knows that supreme sign will refer to the Quranic term. He took it from it, but he, if you like, paraphrased the story within his own life. Atheistic ideology is represented the Quranic example of Pharaoh. So how are we going to convey the message to Pharaoh in our age? The prophet Moses conveyed them in the story. The supreme sign is understood generally the miracles stuff of Moses. But as we studied also in the life of Moses, stuff represents what makes Moses as a prophet. What does it make him as a prophet? His message, prophetic message. So his prophetic message was Ayatul Kubra. Now we got the message. That's why Nursiso, nowadays the atheistic ideology must be challenged by the supreme sign presented to us in the creation of the universe. That's what we read there. Starting from the wind, from the the sun and the earth, raining, etc., rain, etc., all of them, and then going through all the stages of life, the experiences of our human life, and then going to, at the very end, look, if it seems to be there must be a God, then only religion claims that the universe can only be explained by attributing it to the notion of God. So the traveler, which we said our travel in our journey of reasoning, we have to take notes that there are prophets mentioned here, and the story goes on, the journey goes on. Let me go to the religious circles, let me go to the religious texts and see what they are saying. Then that is what we have to do, starting from the universe. This is the, let's say, ninth part of out of 10. Part of the supreme sign is related to the creation, but 1 out of 10 or 10% of the book is related to religious sources, and see how the religious sources are really reasonable to accept under the witnessing of the Quran universe, the sign and examples of the creation in the universe. That's what Ayatul Kubra is. So Imam Ali said here in his writings, as it is narrated, by the supreme sign, preserve me from sudden death. Sudden death means unconscious death, not realizing where he is going. I understood this because we know historically that Imam Ali's death was a sudden death. So do you think his prayer is not accepted? So I would like to interpret it as far as my knowledge lets me know about history of Imam Ali. His death was sudden death. He was killed. So he didn't, he shouldn't mean this. In fact, even he meant this, but we should understand that sudden death, unexpectedly it happens, so that I wasn't ready for it. I have not prepared for me. So how am I going to do this? Exactly what the prophetic message teaches under the witnessing of the universe, as we read it in the section which is called Supreme Sign. That is how we have to really relate the subject to what we have been doing, and what Nursi means, and what Imam Ali meant in his prayer. Thank you.
Jazakallah, Brother Ali. Okay, so clarification of what sudden death is unconscious death. So, all right. So the second phrase, he is one. A concise indication of the proof in this phrase is as follows. In every aspect of the universe, a unity, a oneness is apparent. In every aspect of the universe, unity, a oneness is apparent. For example, it displays a unity and oneness by being a well set out city, a magnificent palace, a meaningful materialized book, and an embodied Quran, every verse, and even every letter and point of which is miraculous. Similarly, since the palace's lamp is one and the same, and its calendar lamp, and fiery cook, and water-bearing sponges, and hundreds of thousands of other things it contains are all one and the same. It proves decisively that the owner, ruler, scribe, and author of the palace, city, book, and mighty embodied Quran is existent, one and single. One as in absolute and single. Let's see, is there any other paragraph? Yeah, so that's the second phrase. Brother Ali, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm sure you all understood that in a mighty embodied Quran, it means supreme sign, the universe. I'm sure you did, but just I wanted to pay attention to for myself, to the courage of the author, not be hesitating, calling the universe as the Quran. I mean, we cannot really separate from each other. Without the Quran, without the universe, Quran would mean nothing. Why? What are you talking about? Who are you? I am the creator of the universe. There is no such thing. There is no evidence there, because the universe is not there. So the existence of the universe means meaningless of the Quran, pointless that the Quran is revealed to humankind. But there is no such thing that may happen. Of course, we referred to it recently. So the courage is to put the universe as evidence before the Quran. That is needed nowadays in this age and in this time and age. Using the evidence from the Quran must come first, and then the evidence from the no, did I say it wrong? That was wrong. I'm sorry. I have to correct from the beginning. Using the evidence from the universe must come first, and then go back to the Quran, saying that this Quran is just the explanation of this universe. But vice versa, I mean, the other way around, relationship will come into our discussion or into our mind that, okay, how the Quran describes the universe then? Since universe is the evidence, source of evidence for the Quran, how about if I read the Quran, can I get any extra information from it? Then go back to the Quran, you will see that more than the universe is revealing to me about the creator, of its own creator. The Quran gives me many meanings to the through the existence of the Quran, that I can refer to the creator of the universe, so that I can confirm at the end that Quran must be the speech of the creator of this universe. So I can reassure it. But if I start my argument within myself or with another person. Not necessarily argument that we have to argue with the people, but in our relationship with other people, how are we going to establish, on what base? We have to establish our relationship with other people, talking about the universe in a way that it is a sign to something else. It means sign to it is a collection of signs to something else. And let's talk about, or question about, what this something else, the source of existence of the universe, is wonderful. So this wonderful universe needs a wonderful source of existence. Who is that? And then I can develop the idea of there must be a creator, a source of existence. What can it be? Oh, let's see. Interesting. There is a book also within the universe available for me. It says, it is called God, and describes that this God is has such and such qualities. Go back to the universe. Does the universe need a creator with those qualities? We see that very tight connection between the Quran and the universe. They are inseparable. Of course, we are accustomed with, as the readers of this author's books, this one was what is important. I understood and wanted to share it with you. Universe comes first in this world, not in the 12th, 13th, 15th century of the Muslim world, but in this world, everywhere. Universe must be presented as a source of evidence if we are going to talk about what the creator, who the creator is, and what the news we get. Apart from the universe, we get existence of the eternal life, and try to see the angelic side of the universe, and see that everything in the universe is really created by a wise creator, merciful creator, just creator, educator creator, Rab. One of the, if you like, root words are not the same. One of them is Rab, come on. Yes, Reba Yerbi, the other one is Rabbe Yurebbi. So this is, if I'm not confusing, two words. One of the meaning is educating, making education, tarbiyah. So God introduces himself as the Rabbul Alamin. It means the one who is taking care of the universe and the one who teaches human being as an educator. So this relationship will take me to understand God much more than I can comprehend from the creation of the universe. But it doesn't mean that Quran comes first, because it will be a prejudice, biased attitude. Nowadays, this biased attitude cannot work, generally speaking, but Muslim people believe, or the followers of the monotheistic religions believe the existence of God, but mostly they don't know what they mean by God. Still, they need the same instruction as some those people who claim that they don't really believe in God, or they are not concerned with religion at all. So we have to really generally see that the whole world now needs to understand who the creator of this universe is and how the Quran is describing him. So we have to put the universe in the prior position. Inshallah, that's what I understood. Thank you.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. So I think we can stop here for today. So next time we'll continue with the third phrase. He has no partner. Hold on a second, little boy. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.